Hello, hello. Welcome back to the shade of it all. I am
Welcome
Brandon.
back. I'm Magdala.
We had to redo the intro about 3 or 4 times because Maggie just kept interrupting.
Being indecisive is all.
You
Just
know,
being
it's
myself.
fine. It
It's
happens.
fine.
It's showbiz, babe.
Baby,
Oh,
it's show business,
oh
baby.
no, Sarah Ann, no. Today's episode is a really exciting episode for me personally. On this podcast, we like to talk about pop culture. We like to talk about reality TV. And a big staple of the show so far has been Love is Blind, because right when we
hmm
started, the new season premiered. So it really kicked it off. But Love is Blind ended. It's done. It's over. So we needed a new show. And I've been trying to get Maggie to watch Vanderpump Rules for the longest time, and now
A
she
very
finally
long
did.
time.
You
I
did watch
finally
last
did.
season with the whole scandal, or like some of it at least.
Yeah, I watched the reunion. I watched the important parts. I watched the reunion and like maybe 1 or 2 episodes leading up to it. But yeah, I feel like I'm giving Brandon a gift right now. Like, happy birthday, Brandon. I'm watching Vanderpump Rules with you.
This is a way to phrase it and like shift the narrative, I suppose. But I do feel as though I'm giving Maggie a gift because I know she loves shows and drama and all that. So
Yeah.
I'm constantly introducing her to new things.
I mean, I don't
So,
know why it was so, even when we were discussing it last week, we're like, okay, we can watch Vanderpump Rules. And I definitely thought of other options even after we sat on it
no,
because I was
Maggie,
not sold.
we
I
can
wasn't
decide
sold.
on something, and Maggie would be like, but should we?
But
And I'm
should
like,
we?
should.
Should we? So here we are. And honestly, I really enjoyed it.
Right? Like I knew she would. This is one thing I'm surprised Maggie in our 10 or 11 years of friendship has not learned. I am always
Mhm.
right.
Brandon
Like,
really is.
maybe I'm wrong. The instances I'm wrong are few and far between,
It's
but for
true.
the most part, we're
I
right.
actually can't think of anything that you've ever been wrong about. You're
Oh,
always right. And particularly, Brendan is always right about what I should watch and what I should wear. Those
yeah.
two things.
The two most
We
important
haven't
things in life.
we haven't gone shopping together often, but when he did and he picked out clothes for me and another friend, we were like, "Oh, now Brendan having amazing taste."
You
The only
know,
time you were wrong was when you tried to play with makeup on my face and I looked like a geisha. And I'm
that is
black,
true.
which is
I was using your products, so
you were. No, that's telling that you can use products for a black girl and make her look like a geisha. That's the only time Brandon has been wrong, but he was really just playing. So I was like, okay,
the thing
it's
about
fine.
me is I have a vision, but I'm not an artist. Like I can't execute like
Oh,
that.
that reminds me of another time you were wrong. Remember when well, you're not wrong, but it didn't execute well. The foil. There, Brandon was dabbling in photography, and we got this like gold foil to like put
I
on our
thought those
faces.
pictures turned out good or
They
decent.
did, but it was a mess behind the
The
scenes.
the
Like,
process was bad.
but
Yeah.
that wasn't your fault. The foil just wouldn't stick. So
It
I
was
can only and I
it was
and these
both.
two
It was me and the foil's fault. I'll
yeah,
own it.
because we would try to take it off and then it would like stick to his hands and not to our we were trying to put it on our
Yeah.
faces. We
It was
had a
from
few cute ones though.
Amazon. We,
Yeah.
we it came together, but
So
the
these two
journey's not
times
always
that
beautiful, but
so 2 out of like 100, you're doing pretty good, friend. And those
thank
two
you
times
so
are
much.
so insignificant, very experimental. Brandon's trying something,
Wow,
he
Maggie's being so
experiments.
complimentary right now. I'm not used to
I
this.
mean, I gotta give credit where credit is due. I will never shade someone when they're right.
I'm not used to someone feeding my delusions like this, so I really appreciate this.
No, you're actually good at those things.
Uh, thank you so much, Maggie. You've always been my best friend. Let's jump in. So today's episode, we're gonna focus mainly on Vanderpump Rules. Well, pretty
hmm
much only on Vanderpump Rules because we're introducing it into the zeitgeist of our podcast. And
hmm
Maggie had a lot to catch up on.
I did. I watched 9 episodes
She did.
in 5 days. I think I
Yep.
started on Sunday.
Which actually, considering you've binged multiple seasons of Big Brother in a short amount of time, that's like nothing.
Do not come for my neck. It's not fair. The way Big Brother, and I feel like we're probably gonna do Big Brother, but the way Big Brother is set up is like you can't not binge. Like if
This
you
is
have the
true.
whole season, every episode ends on a cliffhanger. Who's gonna be HOH? Who's gonna win veto? You have to know. You have to know.
You have
So
to. And I will say though, with Big Brother, what ruined the show is the live feeds for me. Because the live feeds
yeah,
are so much better and
they
following them on
are.
Twitter, you really don't get the full story in the episodes.
Literally, this season was the first time. Well, I really became a fan like last year. So I followed the live
Hmm
feeds this year and I literally like hate all of it. I see Jag on TikTok and I'm like, next, hurry up. Don't give him a coin. I see him on singing on Instagram and I'm like, swipe,
Oh yeah,
unfollow.
he did like a cover of Feeling Whitney by Post Malone, and I was like, you need to go back to the Big Brother house.
For real. I just hold a grudge. I just hold a grudge. And honestly, Vanderpump has kind of made this they're in quite like a situation right now. Like I feel
They're
like
in a
they're
pickle.
dealing with a lot of moral dilemmas which have really made me think about things. Like even this podcast, like is it okay to judge someone period?
You
You
know?
know? So we'll get into it, but like it really made me think about my life. Like, am I judgment? I know I can be judgmental, but like, and you know, we're reviewing these. We're sharing our reactions to these episodes. We don't have
Yeah.
any personal connection to these people. Maybe they'd be upset if they heard some things we said. Maybe I don't know. I don't think we're being overly critical, but it made me think about it.
You know, it's a moral dilemma. And you know, sometimes it crosses my mind too. It depends. I feel like there's
Yeah.
a line, and I feel like at least as of yet, I don't think we've crossed anything.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No.
Some people are very toxic on podcasts. I feel like we just share our opinions and we're very quick to change opinions too. When that, like Chelsea, I felt like I really feel
Oh,
bad.
I
I w-
rode for Chelsea. I
Brendan
was
was
one of the
right.
low people. I was like, there's something they're not telling us. Like Chelsea is a real one,
And
and
you were
it's true.
you're 1,000% right. Jimmy was a storyteller. These Love is Blind episodes really got me. Then I listened to Chelsea's interview and I was like, dang, sis,
She's actually
I
cool.
judged you wrong. She's actually super cool. Jimmy is a liar.
Hmm
And I mean, I'm sure she has issues with anxiety, but I low-key feel like her feelings are warranted. And if it was me, I would probably act the same exact way.
You did. You said it.
Right? Maybe that
Uh,
needs to be our meter. If I was them, would I do that?
that's a good
Maybe that needs
question.
to be our gauge.
I think too, though, because in I've been posting a lot, we've been posting a lot on our TikTok, and like
Hmm.
with Vanderpump Rules, there's a lot of discourse on like TikTok and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And I think commentary's fine. I think it's more so just like the trolls that are like relentless, and then
Oh
like the
yeah,
evil trolls who like the ones who send like death threats and stuff. Like that's the
that's
real social
wild.
media that's like crazy.
I don't know what you need to be going through to like do
Right?
that to somebody. That's kind of crazy. And
Yeah.
it's a crime.
And like how like I could not imagine going under someone's post and like doing a hate comment. Even like
Literally.
with these people, like we might say jokes, but we're not gonna comment on their stuff. You really
No.
suck. Like we hate you.
Oh,
Like
absolutely
no,
not.
like
I barely comment on anything. Partly
same.
because I know my comment won't get read if it wasn't recent. If there is a cool recent, like something that's been posted in a couple minutes, I'll try to like get a quippy comment and something funny, but
No.
never like, oh, you're tacky and I hate you. Like,
Right?
I would
It's
never do
like,
that.
yeah, we're not evil and it's not that
No,
serious. It's all
it's not that serious.
entertainment. Like, you know?
Yeah, and that's what gets me too, because when I was dealing with this, the 5 minutes, I was like, am I a bad person? I was like, wait a minute. These people put themselves on a platform. Love is
hmm
Blind is different. Vanderpump Rules is completely different. This is a reality TV show where we know that a good portion of the time storylines are created for the sake of viewership,
Mm-hmm.
and people behave certain ways for viewership. So I know that like that's going on too. So I also feel like it's like you put yourself out there. Not that I should send you a death threat, but for me to share my opinion, I feel like is
Yeah.
okay because you kind of put your story out for people
Mm-hmm.
to see it. And
Yeah. People are gonna have opinions and like,
what if my worst moments were displayed on TV? It's
this
not a
is true.
summary of who I am. It's not
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a display of who I am. For Sandoval it is.
Well, that's another. It's
That's a tricky
layered.
one. There's
It's like
layers to it.
Sandoval's a little layered too. Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
hard part
it's
about
tricky.
it is the relentless like trolling. Like I
I
think
agree.
like it'd be one thing if an episode aired and then you got a few comments or something and then it was just like over. But
Yeah.
again, the crazy social media people will go on and like send like the
Yeah.
messages and it's like, okay, now chill. Like they got it. Like they had their
Yeah.
trolling and then move
Yeah.
on. Like,
Yeah, and
you know,
I don't really feel like I'm making conclusions about the people we discuss as a person. I'm making
you know.
conclusions about them based off of what I see, and I know that that's not the whole. I feel like we even point out sometimes maybe this isn't the whole story, but it's
Yeah.
part of the story. So,
I'm sure if we met
yeah.
them, they'd be nice. Like,
Yeah.
But you know what? This world, we're all shady, we're all judgmental, and
Yeah.
we're just trying to get by, you
We
know?
are. We are. And I think the next time we have a lull, we can kind of even talk about like our shadiness towards ourselves. Cause like I feel like I'm constant like low key, I'm my biggest fan and my worst fan. Like I'm my own troll. Like some of
Yeah.
the things I say to myself, I'm like, oh, that wasn't nice. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
what am I
Like girl,
thinking about
literally.
myself?
Like Magdala, how could you blah 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 blah, and it's just like very negative. So, we'll die, we'll have our turns. How about that? We'll have our turns. I don't
Yes.
think I've never seen anything in you, Brandon, that I could look at you and be like, Brandon, you need to work on this or you suck at that. I really don't know. But I could
Oh.
definitely do it to myself. So I'll take a turn at critiquing my life and put it out there as well. Fair
We're our
game.
own
We're fair
worst
game.
critics.
Yeah.
But you're perfect, Maggie.
Thanks, Brandon. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I
Can't
know.
wait to
No,
go
just kidding.
shopping with you. I need to
I know
change
we
my
need to go
wardrobe
shopping
desperately
soon
and vlog.
because we need a vlog and
Hmm.
also because we might want to take a new podcast cover with our actual
Oh
face.
yeah, we were talking about maybe having a photo shoot at some point in time, some
Yes.
material for our
Um,
Instagram and our
we'll definitely
TikTok.
look better than I look right now. YouTube watchers, I did do my skincare and I do have pimple cream, but also I don't know why this week my lips are beyond chapped. I have
Oh
no
really?
idea why. I literally only I've been drinking water. I always I put like
Yeah.
lip stuff on at night. I don't know. But right now they're slathered in Vaseline. I look like the Joker, but it's
I
okay.
didn't even I don't think they're as bad as you think because I didn't notice it yesterday or Monday.
Oh, well, thank you. I notice when I
So
feel
give yourself some
it.
grace.
I'll try. It's just I'm so hard on myself. Okay, let's jump into Vanderpump Rules. And I think the thing is, so Maggie had to catch up on episodes 1 through 8, and then
Yep.
9 premiered last night. So
Yeah.
I was thinking, we're not gonna like go through each and every episode, and be like, this happened there. But I was thinking we could go by each cast member. And with that, we can kind of talk about I want to know what you think about these people because I've been
Okay.
watching a lot of these people.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
watching Vanderpump Rules. I've seen every season, but I started watching it consistently, I think season 3,
Oh wow.
roughly
How many
season
do
3
they
or 4.
have?
We're on 11.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I've been watching for a long time, and a lot of these people have been on since the beginning, or at least close to the
Hmm.
beginning. So I'm very interested to know your thoughts on
Yeah.
them.
We they were showing receipts from 2012. I was like, I was
I know.
graduating high school. Like that's wild.
Right. No, it's this crew goes a long way back. And then after we talk about all the people,
Oh.
we could probably like get into some things that happened in last night's episode because last night's episode was pretty juicy, I
It
must say.
was. It was. The first few were kind of like, and then this one had a cliffhanger 8 had a cliffhanger into 9, and I was like, oh, I want to watch that. So I'm
Hmm.
ready. I'm excited for this beach trip too. Like they keep teasing the beach
Oh
stuff,
yeah.
and I want to see what happened on the beach. But yes, we can go through each person. I might
Yeah.
have to pull up a picture
Oh yes. Let me also. I'm gonna pull up the
of
cast picture just so I'm sure I'm not missing anyone.
anybody.
Which I
Okay.
don't think I will, but just to be sure. So this season, it's season 11, and this is the season after the big scandal where
Hmm.
Tom Sandoval cheated on Ariana, his partner of 9 years, with Raquel, who now goes by Rachel, who was a cast member for quite a few years, a good friend of Ariana's, was engaged to DJ James Kennedy at one point. Like they were dating for a few years. And so she caught them having an affair. She let the producers know. The producers came. They filmed an alternate season finale,
Wait,
season
she told
10.
the producers?
Ariana told the producers.
Oh, Ariana did.
Yeah,
Ariana did.
Ariana,
Okay,
not
okay.
Raquel. No, they were trying to
Okay.
hide that shit.
Okay, okay.
But when Ariana found out, she let the producers know, and that's when the cameras picked back up.
Wow.
And then 3 weeks after that, they filmed the reunion. So that crazy reunion where she's like in the
Mhm.
red dress, like
Yeah.
everyone's yelling at him, was just 3 weeks after. So this season is basically the aftermath of all that. I think it was 5 months after everything was revealed, and it's basically like this faction group trying to
Mhm.
pick up the pieces
Pick
and
up the
make some money
pieces.
on this television show and film. Uh, so let's go with the characters. We'll start with Allie. We'll
Hmm.
start slow. Allie is relatively new. She was just introduced last season, and
Oh, okay.
she's James Kennedy's new girlfriend who's like an astrologer.
New girlfriend, so they haven't been dating long
No, maybe like at this point 1 or 2 years.
because they live together and stuff, but I guess that's
Yeah.
the norm for James.
He kind of jumps into
Can you
relationships.
tell me? Okay. Okay, I'll tell you. I'll ask that for later. So, Allie, cute, cool, her little like astrology thing.
Hmm.
I can't even remember. She looks at your birth chart, is what it is? Birth chart?
I believe
Birth
so, yes.
birth something. I mean, she's cool. It seems like the majority, the clique, the girls, the main girls accept her. Um,
Hmm.
and she's like kind of nice to Joe, which I think Joseph, which I think is cool.
Oh yeah.
I really don't have a whole opinion of her. I haven't seen her a lot. I mean, she seems very supportive of James, which is cute.
Hmm.
Like their relationship actually seems like really healthy. James is very like carefree. I think it's adorable that he picks out her clothes, but like there's really not much to say about her. She's just cool. She seems really cool.
I agree. I think she's nice and pretty. And she's
Yeah.
like one of those that's very like nice, shady.
Yeah.
And she seems to be
Just
very level-headed.
yeah.
And I like that she sings. She like
Oh, she
randomly,
sings.
they like showed a random clip. It's like she was singing country music. And I was like, so random, but I love
Oh
it.
yes, it was like
Hmm.
a flashback. She was like, "Oh yeah, I used to sing." Brandon, I was like, "What year was this?" I was looking at her clothes. I was like, "Allie, where are you? Like, are you
It
at
looked like it was
church?"
a talent show or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, maybe.
It
She just
was
had a
wild.
big belt. I was like, "Girl, I don't know why. I remember that very vividly. Like, what year was this?"
When was this
But super
taken?
cute. How old
Um,
is she?
she's young. She's in her 28,
And how old is
27.
James?
He's kind of young too. I think he maybe just turned 30.
That's wild because Sandoval is old.
No,
41?
yeah. James is like young. I would say James, Lala, and Allie are the younger ones.
James Lala Alley. Okay.
And
Okay.
then the rest are late 30s, early 40s. So not
Got it.
much different. And not,
Yeah.
don't want to say old, but just older than them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay.
since we're going kind of with like the side characters, Brock. What do you think of Brock?
Brock is interesting. Um so I understand his desire for Sheena to kind of like work through her stuff and also like as a parent of a young kid, a lot of your life is taken up by that child. So I feel like he's like a little antsy to like get out of the house, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't love how like he started like when he gets his anger is very quick. He gets mad
It
very
is
fast, which
0
is
to
a little
100
cons
very quick.
yeah, like w- she said something at the bar, like, I didn't like that you did that. And he was like, oh, your reaction is pissing me off. Like, oh, okay, Brock, relax a little bit.
Well, a little history on Brock. So
Okay.
he came in season 9
Hmm.
and like Sheena met him during the pandemic. So
Okay.
2020 at like a festival. And the thing about him is he actually was married and had 2 kids in Australia, but then he got into like this domestic violence issue where he like slapped his wife and
Oh
then
my
like I don't
gosh.
they got divorced. I forget the exact details, but she did get a restraining order. And so he came to the States to try to like I don't know, make it or do something. And like he doesn't have any
Ooh,
contact with the kids or anything.
that's
So,
terrible.
yeah. And that was a big thing Lala brought up in season 9. Like, that's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. Like,
Did he do any like self-work?
I think so. It seems like he has, but one thing with Brock is it always seems like he's trying to make money but can't.
Hmm.
Like, I remember he tried to do like a fitness app that hasn't like come
Oh,
out or
geez.
anything. Now I think he's getting into directing or something.
Oh
Sheena's the
God.
breadwinner of the couple, is the thing.
What does she like about him? Like, why Brock?
I don't, I
Did
guess
they have
they're,
a bit? Was Summer Moon a surprise?
I don't think she was a surprise, but, um, I think it was just something like, I don't know, I guess they just fell in love and like, she was like, this is my person. And then like all this,
Did
and
they
then they
get
had,
married quick?
They actually did. I think within a year, but secretly, because season 10 they had it like their wedding ceremony, but she revealed they actually got married a year prior.
Wow,
I think it
interesting.
was first there was some reason behind it that I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah. But their daughter Summer Moon is super cute.
Oh, she's adorable. When I love how Sheena was like, I was watching Summer Moon and she broke her arm. And I was like, what?
Right.
And then they show her with her cast, and I'm like, that sounds like low-key traumatic, and I'm surprised you're not freaking out more, considering like you're
Right.
kind of
She
a
handled it
helicopter
pretty
parent.
well.
Yeah.
You know. But since
Um,
while we're on it, what do you think of Sheena?
Sheena. There's layers to Sheena. First, I'll start
There
with what
are.
comes to my mind first. Um, her mental health concerns me. Like, sis, I get it. Postpartum OCD. I've never heard
Hmm.
of it. Not that it's not real, but that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
her level of attachment to Summer makes sense. Her level of protection over Summer makes sense. I feel like if I had a kid, I would do that too. And I do think that Brock could sympathize with her a little bit more.
Hmm.
Um, because her family does seem very involved. So I don't know really why they need to depend on strangers like he wants. I think he wants anybody to be able to watch Summer. And so I just feel like her feelings are valid in that.
Hmm.
With everything else, she kind of confuses me. Like, and so I guess you need to tell me, like, how close. Okay, well, she describes being super close to Sandoval, have in the past, and feeling very conflicted about everything. Like, she said during COVID, he gave her money when she was like flat broke. Like somebody who's there for you in those moments, I get why you would have like kind of an internal allegiance towards them. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The way that she is like working through it confuses me. I don't know why Ariana needs to know about your meditation session, you know? I don't think she needs to know that you guys went like it's like go hang out with Sandoval then report to Ariana. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't see why they need to like advertise it. What do you want her to say? They already know her stance. But like Sheena's super conflicted about it, like crying over it and stuff. And I'm like, was it that deep? Because you were really on one end she seems really mad, but then on the other end she's like almost just as sad about it, you know? So it just confuses me a little bit. Because if Sandoval was that close, maybe it would be easier for her to make a choice. Like it wasn't Ariana helping you in your down times. And like Lala kind of pointed out, like Sheena's 10 toes down for Ariana and Ariana does not keep the same energy, you know?
Yeah, it's Sheena's an interesting one. Sheena's very here's the thing about Sheena.
Oh, wait.
What?
Brandon, Sheena te on her phone sobbing about these Twitter comments about the photo at the restaurant where she's standing next to Tom. In my head, I'm like, dang, sis, they were trolling you like that. And Lala's like, what are they saying? And she's like, I just made so mean. And then Lala's like, where are you seeing this? And she's like, I see it's everywhere. And then Lala's like, are you searching yourself? No. How are you seeing it? In my mentions. Girl, what?
So she's like, so you're searching.
You're searching for yourself. So it's like you're looking for the hate comments just to read them and get upset about them. And also,
Hmm.
was it really that deep? I'm sure it was because this is like in the wake of everything.
Hmm.
But I was just like, dang, Sheena, like the internet trolls are really getting to you like that. Like, girl, they don't know you or the pic. You know what I mean? You don't. Do you
Yeah.
really go toe to toe with everybody who has something bad to say about you?
Sheena does let the trolls get her down. Speaking of the trolls earlier. But Sheena, again, she's a funny one because Sheena's that girl that loves to be in the middle and loves to be friends with everyone. She lives for a
Uh,
moment where she can be like, it's just so hard because my two friends aren't getting along and it's like this person didn't do anything to me, so like I can't turn my back on them, but it's just like so hard because like they both like me but like they don't like each other, so like I'm their friend but like it's hard navigating that because I want to be loyal to both. She has been doing this since probably season 3,
oh
and
wow.
a common denominator is almost always Ariana because
Okay, that makes more sense.
she's always, because what was it? At first, it was like Kristen and Ariana did not get along. Kristen is Tom Sandoval's ex.
Okay.
And Kristen hated Ariana. And
Mm.
Ariana, I did not like Kristen either. And it was just like a lot. But a lot of people didn't like Kristen because it's season 2. It was revealed she slept with Jax, who had dated Stassi at one point, who was Kristen's best
Oh.
friend. And
Ooh.
Tom Sandoval and Jax are best friends. And
Mm-hmm.
like it was kind of almost like a little Raquel slight situation, only everyone in the scenario was bad because even Tom was cheating on Kristen like crazy. So it was just like
Yeah.
weird. But it was only season 2 as well. So it was kind of like people were still learning about the show.
Yeah.
But Sheena and Kristen almost never got along as well. And Ariana came on the show because Sheena begged her to, because Sheena needed a
Mm.
friend. So they have a close
Oh.
friendship. And then all of a sudden, season 3, Tom and Ariana are together. Kristen's at her peak hatred of them. All of a sudden, Sheena's really good friends with Kristen. And she's like, it's just so
Oh.
hard because Kristen and da 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 da. And like and Kristen and James were dating at the time. And then like all this stuff's happening. I think by the end of season 3, Kristen and Sheena kind of fell out again. But then season 4, Sheena's back to being her friend. And Ariana's like, why are
Um,
you friends with her? She's not even nice to you. And you know she's not nice to me. Like, what are you doing? And then Sheena's
yeah.
just like, well, it's just hard because she hasn't done anything to me. And Ariana's like, well, she's done stuff to me. Shouldn't that be enough? But they moved
No.
past it.
Yeah.
But then there was also drama because Sheena had texted Ariana's mom bashing Sandoval. So this is where it's confusing, where it's like Sheena's
Wow.
like, oh, Sandoval's best friend. It's like y'all had moments
Yeah.
of best friendness, but y'all aren't that close. Like, stop.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I
that
was curious.
there's been some, touch and go drama with them, but for the most part, Ariana and Sheena have like risen above and like been closer than ever.
Yeah.
So, with this whole situation where once again Sheena's it's wild that Sheena's centering herself as well. Because Sheena, the two people, you want to know the two people who did the most podcasts and showed the most public outrage towards Sandoval?
Who
Sheena and Lala. Who are the
on their
two people
podcasts?
on their podcast, any podcast? If they found a mic, they were talking in it. And they were profiting, selling merch, doing all this. Now who are the two people that are trying to villainize
Mm,
Ariana for not balloons coming up when I put two fingers up just now on
that
Zoom?
scared me.
I know, right? That was crazy. And now who are the two people trying to villainize Ariana and try to be like, oh,
Mm,
well, Sandoval? Sheena and
Lala and
Lala.
Sheena, yeah.
And I will
Hmm.
also say how quick people forget because as they're trying to say that Ariana doesn't have Sheena's back, one big thing with Sheena that she says was the hardest thing ever was the restraining order that Raquel gave her for
Yes.
allegedly punching her.
Yes.
Now, if we can remember who was defending Sheena hardcore saying she never punched her and she never said she did, Ariana. Who was the one
Um,
saying that she did punch Raquel? Sandoval. So I would
ah.
say when Sheena needed Ariana the most, she was confirming for a legal matter that she did not, in fact, punch Raquel. Whereas Sandoval was saying she did, but now she's torn about making up with Sandoval.
This is helping me put the pieces together a lot because
Vanderpump Rules is a complicated jigsaw puzzle.
yeah, it is. Because the way she was conflicted, I was like, dang, sis, like, how was he truly there for you?
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't make sense. I mean, granted, it makes sense for Sandoval to try to stand up for Raquel because he's
Mm-hmm.
in love with her
Oh
and he loves her
yeah.
so much. Um,
I'm
but
in love with her, dude. And then she just left me to go
you
to the
did
meadows.
you did that a little too well.
I know.
You're really good at that. Yeah.
Uh,
Him weeping in the closet and Tom Schwartz is like, bro, are you okay, bro? Are you crying, bro? Like,
Sandoval's a
guys,
mess.
y'all need to be so for real right now.
No, like
Schwartz is a
they're
mess as well.
no, they are. And to think at one point the Toms are like beloved on the show. Like viewers
Mm.
often like hated the women but loved the Toms.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. Oh, maybe I need to go back in time and like kind of see how things unfolded. But
It's crazy
yeah,
because also watching back and knowing everything that happened now, it's such a different watch.
yeah, I'm
Mhm.
sure.
But two more quick things with Sheena before we go
Okay.
off.
Yeah, give me
Um
it.
the Dancing with the Stars part.
Oh my gosh! I
That's
was like,
so
girl, be so
embarrassing.
for real. It is. You could have kept that a secret. I
I'm
wouldn't
like,
have told
Sheena,
anybody.
that's
He
something
was
you keep to yourself and your pillow at night. You don't verbally
Brandon.
say this.
Girl, you were taking lessons? Oh my gosh. How unfortunate for you.
Dancing with the Stars has the chance to do the funniest thing and have anyone else from the show be on it except for Sheena.
So like, but the way that she made it sound was that they were approaching her. Is that not the case? Because
I don't
why
think
would you
so.
like did you
She,
take lessons thinking they were gonna invite you? Because
well,
that's worse.
fun fact, I'm going to give you something else to binge. You need to watch the after shows that are also on Peacock because it
Oh,
provides
they
even
yeah,
more
yeah.
context.
Okay.
Apparently, it was also Tom Sandoval's biggest dream to be on Dancing with the Stars,
Be so for
and he
real.
was also taking lessons. Um, but
Not everybody. Wait, were they getting ready because of Scandival? Because they knew, like,
I think
oh,
they had been before. Sheena said on some podcast that she had always been interested in it. She's friends with the D'Amelios, and they
hmm
were on like Charlie and her mom were on one season. And I guess she says she made friends with like the producer or someone on Dancing with the Stars, and they were like, "Oh my God, you'd be perfect." And she had thought going into the year with Scandival that it could be her chance.
I see.
But with Scandival, why would they have you? They're gonna have Ariana.
Literally,
Like,
or
girl, like,
Tom, like,
and
but not
yeah.
Tom. It would most likely be
And maybe if
Ariana.
you played this a little cooler, you could be on next season. Because Ariana made the point on Watch What Happens Live. She was like, I figured it was like good, like if one of us gets on, that just opens the door that like anyone on our show can get on. So like,
Yeah.
because before no one from Vanderpump Rules was on Dancing with the Stars. They
Yeah.
would have housewives, but they wouldn't have anyone from that show. So
Yeah.
it's just like
I
Sheena,
mean,
if you like played this cooler, like you probably could be on next season. Like
yeah.
it's
Kenya was on and it wasn't even during her prime in Atlanta.
it
It was like an
wasn't.
irrelevant time. I don't know why they put Kenya on the cast at
Yeah,
all.
it was
There was
really
like, well,
random.
I mean, she's cool, but there wasn't anything happening in the
Yeah.
headlines for her to be
Hmm.
put. Anybody could be put on. So
Yeah, so
that's
she just
crazy.
needs to like chill. And also, I did not appreciate the comment she made where she was like, she's come a long way from being my backup dancer. One, because you here's the
That
thing.
video of them dancing was so pathetic.
I'm
I was
like,
like,
first of all, that was from season one, which is crazy. And I'm like, you just gave him an opportunity to show her dancing better than you. So like
yeah,
that's dumb on your part. Two, you can't show support for someone and
yeah.
then say that because now the support's gone.
Right,
You
right.
can't be like, oh, I support you, but it broke my heart and I cried so much and I can't believe you got it over me.
Yeah, she was like, was I super happy for you? Yes. Did I cry about not making it? Also, yes. Like, girl,
It's
I don't
like,
know. I feel like if you're somebody's friend, you can talk to someone else about your feelings of disappointment that you're like jealous of them for something. Like that's weird to bring to your friend. Oh, I was
yeah,
jealous of you. Like that, I don't like that energy.
no, it's like
And then
negative
that
and
Ariana
toxic.
should have apologized or should have told you, girl,
Right.
what?
Like, it's like hijacking the moment. And then,
Yeah.
like, the other thing I was gonna say about Sheena, when she called crying on the boat, I don't know if I were Ariana and my best friend said, I can't keep hating him because of you. After everything he's done, I would be like, then just stop
Yeah.
hating him and you don't have to worry
Yeah.
about being my friend. Because what is
Yeah.
that? That is
That's
crazy to say to someone.
that's crazy to say, and it's also very invalidating of her experience. Like, hate him
Hmm.
because of me, hate him because of what he did. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like he did a great thing. And
Hmm.
he, there are layers to what he did that I'd like to unpack with you so that we can
Yes.
like, I don't know, maybe send the team some bullet points like, hey guys, just in case you forgot, this is why
We
we
need to
do
have
not
a
like this guy.
PowerPoint ready at all times. Be like,
Right?
remember when he would have people use their credit cards to pay for flights for Rachel to go on tour with him and like do all this stuff so it wasn't tracked? You should watch also Ariana's do you have Spotify?
Yeah.
Um, because you could watch the video on it too. Call Her Daddy. She did like an interview and it's like 2 hours
Ooh.
and there's a lot of tea spilled.
This was after Sandoval or recent?
It was after Scandival, I think just as the reunion was about to air.
Okay.
So not kind of long ago, but not too long.
I'm gonna put
Maybe a
it
year at
on
this point
here.
actually. But still some tea.
Okay. Yes, I
Um,
need it all. I need it all.
yes. Enough about Sheena. Let's move to Lala. What do we think of
Oh my gosh, I love
Lala?
Lala so much. I
Oh
love
my
Lala
gosh, you
so much.
do.
I'm obsessed. I love Lala. She did a few things where I was like, Lala,
Yeah.
don't, because I just developed this bond. But for the most part, like, I actually like Lala. One, I can completely relate to, well, honestly, it's kind of heartbreaking how traumatized she is from her past relationship. Like, that is
Oh yeah.
hella sad.
Hmm.
Like, tells Lisa, smiling ear to ear, I want a sperm donor because I want to have a baby and I want to make sure the baby is mine forever and no one can take them away. That is depressing AF.
That
And
is.
that's like so sad.
That
And
is
she just
very
said it
sad.
casually, like super. I just want, and I'm like, I get it. I get it completely. I am all for women having babies because they
Hmm.
want to have a baby,
Yeah.
or adopting, becoming
Yeah.
mothers because they want to become mothers.
Hmm.
but your reason makes me very sad for you, and I want you to
It
go to
does.
therapy because, but it's also different. I can't say it like as like a normal person because I think with someone in the limelight, it's also like a matter of finding someone you can trust to
Yeah.
be with you for you, and I'm sure that's in her head too. So like that, her past trauma, I can completely relate why she does things the way she does. I kind of want to know why people were hating on her so much, so you can fill me in on that. Like,
Okay.
why? What is Tom talking about when he's like pointing fingers at Lala?
So, Lala's an interesting one because I also have moments where I really like her. And then there's moments where I was just like, you infuriate me and you're such a hypocrite. But I guess that's good to be polarizing on a reality
Yeah,
TV show. She's very
yeah.
entertaining. Um, but so when Lala came on, she came on season 4 and she was like the hostess. And then I think season 5, she started to secretly date Randall, which is the
Okay.
baby daddy. He was like this older Hollywood producer. And the thing about it was he was married,
Mm,
but she says he told her he was separated.
mm,
However, a lot of people from the cast, I guess, knew the wife and knew people who knew the wife, and apparently, like, they weren't separated and they were kind of trying to tell her, but
mm.
Lala wasn't trying to talk. Lala was trying to like hide the relationship from the show.
Yeah.
And she like kind of did for a couple seasons, but they kind of confronted her about it. She ended up leaving the show like midway through season 5, I want to say.
Hmm.
Something like that. And then she came back season 6. She was still secretive about the relationship, but then at some point she got to where she was like saying his name. And then Randall ended up coming on the show like season 8 and 9. But then after that is when everything was revealed, like his cheating and all this other messed up stuff that's like online about like how he works and like his character and like all that stuff.
Mm, mm-hmm.
So he is sketchy. I guess what the thing is, there's kind of confusion as to whether or not she knew for sure he was married and she was kind of
Yeah.
like quote unquote the homewrecker. And it was suspect that she was very secretive about him. I think she was trying to he said like he didn't want it to be talked about on the show, I guess, because like it was a separation and also he's like this big time Hollywood producer or something like that.
Mm, mm-hmm.
So it's just like trying to keep like protect that or something. I don't know, some BS. And I think in hindsight, she realizes what happens and she said it. I think there's still a question about whether or not she knew kind of some of it because she also was
Yeah.
like feuding. Now she's friends with the ex-wife, but for a long time she was like feuding with the ex-wife.
Hmm.
And the ex-wife would say stuff publicly, like on Instagram and in comments, like basically like implying that Lala knew and that Lala and her didn't get along.
Mm.
It's very murky.
Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
see.
that being said, it is really sad what she's going through, and like regardless, she didn't deserve what she's going through and all the stuff he did. And
I don't know. It makes me like her more a little bit.
not Maggie's like, I stand.
Well,
Um,
okay. Is it a reach? Did they say anything about this guy's character? Like, is he kind of like a Sandoval in a sense where, because my take of Sandoval's relationship with Raquel is that there was attraction, but there was also kind of like manipulation and there's
mhm.
like promises and stuff. And I feel like that could greatly influence somebody, especially being like a producer of power. Am I stretching?
I
Or,
no, I think that's also a big part of it too, because Lala was also at the time like in her maybe early mid 20s, like she was young, so like,
yeah.
and she
Oh,
had
that's
moved from
sad.
Utah. Like, I think there were
Was she
elements.
Mormon?
I don't think she was Mormon, no.
Oh, okay, okay. I was about to say
But
the
maybe
plot
at some
thickens.
point, but I don't think she was.
Okay,
Um, but there were elements.
yeah.
Lala can be kind of like, just in general though, like there's some things like I don't know. There's stuff about Lala's personality in the past is a little less now, but she definitely would always try to like, I don't know, put on a character that she was like very sexual and stuff like that. And like
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like I think at one point in one interview she said that she's Tupac reincarnated. She
What the
said
fuck?
something weird
Was she
like that.
sober?
That's another part because she is sober now. So I will say she also had a problem with
Okay.
alcohol at some
Yeah, because
point.
they mentioned that a lot.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, Lala is a very like it's complicated. And I think Lala has had a lot of growth. So like,
Yeah.
there's all that. I think definitely Randall is probably like Scandival times a billion,
Yeah, yeah.
which is why I think Lala was triggered by Scandival and like all
Yeah.
that. I will say the one thing with Lala that it just always annoys me is I feel like she's kind of hypocritical. Well, so I think she has a lot of deep resentment towards Ariana because
Mm.
Ariana had a cheating scandal and the world uplifted her. And she's getting all these opportunities and doing all this. And she feels as though with her situation, I think she got a lot of support. Of course, she got a lot of hate people being like, well, what did you expect? Like with the
Yeah.
person you got in a relationship with.
Yeah.
But she definitely didn't get nearly the same amount of like public support.
I mean,
But I
yeah.
will also, my argument with that is, well, Lala, your relationship started off as a secret. And then when it's revealed you're dating an older producer, like, of course we feel bad for you, but it's also like, oh, you're telling us the creepy older producer that looks skeevy ended up being like sketchy? No. Like, not, I would still
Like,
feel bad, but it's kind of just like no one's
yeah.
surprised by that. And
Yeah.
like, also, they weren't invested in your relationship because we only saw it kind of briefly.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well, wasn't she the other woman? Wasn't she the Raquel in the situation? So why would you?
kind yeah, it's murky and it's like, I don't
Mm,
know. Whereas with Tom and Ariana, there was confusion of whether or not they hooked up while he was still with Kristen. They admitted to kissing at one point, but Ariana said that Tom said him and Kristen weren't together. Kristen says they were, but Kristen was also cheating on him. It was murky. It was also like 10 or something years ago. I think everyone was cheating on everyone at that point.
yeah.
So it was just like, eh. But with Tom and Ariana, we saw the inception of the relationship. We basically saw their full relationship on the show. And
Yeah.
then he ended up cheating with one of her friends that was also on the show. And
Yeah.
also, Ariana's the person throughout the show that's been very like likable. She's very normal.
Yeah.
Like she's very like
That's
she's
true.
she's kind of like the audience in a way.
I
Like
see
she's
that.
very like even keel and like she'll lose her like cool sometimes, but for the most part she's just like she seems like a normal person. So she's very
Yeah.
easy to like root for. I think people felt bad when it happened because it was like they were just like, wow, she really doesn't deserve this. So it's like
Yeah,
complicated.
and it was like with her best friend. I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that that would be a lot more complicated than Lala's situation. I could see why she might be upset. Did when everything came out, did Lala take responsibility? Other than saying like the whole I didn't know that they were together kind of thing. Like when her relationship fizzled out, did she come to any realizations like I settled or like I shouldn't have blah blah
I think so. She
blah?
started to. She talked a little last season about like realizing areas where she like kind of like turned a blind eye and probably just wasn't as like cognizant as she should have been.
Yeah.
And like I think she's still kind of working through that because how it ended, it was like revealed he was like spotted with two girls like walking in Nashville. And then that set
Mm,
off a domino effect of like other reveals and stuff
mm,
like that. And I think at one point she had to like he like wouldn't leave the house and like let her leave basically. Like it was just kind of like she had to like pretend that they were still good. And then one day when he
mm.
like left for a trip or something, she like packed up all her stuff and like left. Like so it was kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds
But
really toxic
and
and
I
crazy.
actually understand her feeling slighted or annoyed that she didn't receive as much support or like whatever.
Yeah.
But I think what she needs to realize is that's not Ariana's fault. Like,
Yeah.
take that out on like other people or
America.
whatever.
I don't
America,
know.
I guess. But like,
Yeah.
Ariana supported you and when you told her not to like talk to Randall and like show up for you, she did. So it was just like, you
Yeah.
know. So like with her, it's just like weird because she also was like so vocal in support of Ariana. But
Hmm.
now, as the season's going on, and I think as Ariana's opportunities only continue and some of theirs don't, it's a little like turning against Ariana.
I think the problem is that she and Lala, it seems, are just forgetting the severity of the situation. Because when
Yeah.
they do talk to your Ariana and she's like, y'all, did you forget that he did this, this, and this? It's crickets, they're quiet, you know?
Yeah.
So like that's the only thing I didn't necessarily agree with Sheena on. But it's a double-edged sword. So my vibe from her was that like I love someone who can hold people accountable, but also hold themselves accountable. And that's what I liked
Hmm.
about her. Like, Sheena's like, are
Lala.
you crying? Sorry. Lala is like, are you crying because you're looking up hate comments? Like, stop looking up hate comments. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, she's very reasonable. She's very
Yeah.
reasonable. Even what else did she say? Her argument with Sandoval on the boat. She was like,
Hmm.
hey, this wasn't cool because I was doing this and you did this. Like, this is not
Yeah.
okay. And then when he wasn't like, when he was just like being defensive and whatever, she got upset, which is reasonable. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like her takes or when she's like calling people out, it is reasonable. Even the end of the episode, when she's like, I'm out of here. Katie is justifying like being messy. Sheena knows everybody's location. Ariana wants us all to hate Tom for her. Like her feelings, like I just feel like she does keep it a buck, which I appreciate. And I did
Hmm.
kind of peep. I felt like she was being self-reflected. Like, hey, I know what it's like to be caught in something that you would rather not be associated with. And like that doesn't mean that you should be crucified on a regular basis, you know?
Yeah.
So like I get even why she was like defending Tom because that's true. Like it
Yeah.
is his drama with Ariana. Does that mean you guys need to be like buddy buddies and be on speed dial? No, you could be cordial, but
Yeah.
like, so the level to which they want to be connected with him, I think is just like, I don't know. Because even Tom was like, Sheena, we're not I mean, Lala, we're not friends, but I'd like to get to know you more. Come to my thing, my screen therapy thing. That was a weird
That
sight to
was
see.
very weird.
That was so fucking bizarre. I was like, and then he took off the masks and he was smiling, and I was like, "You're psycho." Sorry, that was just weird.
No. He's
That was weird.
he's insane. But some Lala and Ariana T, they all filmed the reunion last week, something like that. And apparently Lala and Ariana like went at it at the end of the reunion. The
Ooh,
tweet said that Ariana eviscerated Lala and that their friendship's over.
wow.
From what I've gathered, because I have a lot of time to listen to podcasts. Working in corporate America, you listen to podcasts as the day
Yeah.
passes. Lala has a podcast, and she kind of hinted that I guess there's a rant she has in the finale, which was kind of teased in the trailer, where she like called Ariana God or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. But I guess there was more shown that she didn't think was going to be shown because they like broke the fourth wall, which is my guess. Maybe she was ranting to a producer and they were
Mm-hmm.
like, well, we're gonna show this now. And I guess after it was shown at the reunion by surprise, they asked her, like, oh, do you stand by this? And I guess it was a rant against Ariana. And she said she
Oh.
stands by everything she said. And then
Hmm.
from what I'm gathering is Ariana then went off about whatever it was. And it extended the reunion. Like they were supposed to wrap and that extended it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
I mean, I'm sure we can imagine what this is about. She's probably saying that Ariana's like the way that she's handling this isn't right. Like you shouldn't be telling people who and who not to be friends with, which isn't technically what's happening, but it's kind of what's happening. If you say if you're friends with this person, I don't fuck with you. you're,
it's
you
keeping it
know,
real, but it is saying it. It's complicated too, because here's the thing. It's so like this show is so like Hollywood. Because at
yeah.
the end of the day, a lot of these people need this show for paycheck, for notoriety,
I
for
peeped
all
that a
this.
little bit. Yeah.
Lala being one of them, Sheena being one of them. Ariana's
Mm-hmm.
not one of them really anymore.
Because
Because
anymore.
she's like
She
on
could be a
Broadway
Lisa.
dancing with the stars. She
Hmm.
just breaking news today. She's going to be the next Love Island host, which I
Hmm.
predicted on my last podcast, the Literary Latte podcast. Available anywhere you listen to podcasts, a rate and review. Thank you so much. 5 stars. I was just like, because me and Katie were talking about like what's she gonna do after Broadway, and I was like, we could see her hosting. I'm like, she should host Love Island because they had brought her on as like a guest host last season, like after everything, and I'm like, that would be like a really good move, I think. And so the
Yeah.
fact that that's happening, the thing is, she's making all this money. She doesn't have to film with Tom. She kind of doesn't have to be on the show. And I
Hmm.
think part of it is a lot of the people are resentful on the show, maybe like Lala, the Toms, a little Sheena, of like her not necessarily playing ball and filming with Sandoval and maybe
Hmm.
trying to make them feel weird about filming with Sandoval. But I think her thing is like she's not talking about filming, like film with Sandoval. She gets us a show, but she's like, if you're gonna be close friends with him, like I'm not gonna like fuck with you like that. Like, what do you mean? How are you gonna be
Yeah.
friends with Sandoval?
Yeah. And I mean, her feelings are valid about that.
Mhm.
Her, yeah.
And
I feel like she makes a good case. But I also get what Lala is saying is that, like, no one is above improvement. Granted, you can say that, but the way Homeboy acts,
that's the complicated part. It's like if we were talking about someone other than Sandoval,
it would be
maybe
different.
this argument could be
If we
made.
were talking about, but I think that what Lala is doing, and she's like putting herself in his shoes,
Mhm.
because but like I think that she is Raquel. She's not Sandoval. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She's Raquel. She's the one who's been like manipulated and probably deceived. Yeah, made some bad choices, but mostly like it's related to the person that was influencing you to make these bad choices, you know?
Yeah. She almost like she tends to relate her situation too much to things.
Yeah.
Where it's
Yeah,
like,
that's what
okay,
Katie was getting on her about.
yeah, and it's like it could be similar, but it's not necessarily the same. And then it's also like you also don't like hold the same standards because you're shading Ariana for not getting over something, but you're still dealing with your thing 2 years later, which
Did
is
she tell her to get
fine.
over it, or she told her not to like
I
dictate how people act?
I think I think as of late, she's kind of said on her podcast some joke about like, why isn't Ariana indifferent about it? Or like, why hasn't she moved on? And it's like, well, she's still
Oh,
like
that's not fair.
dealing
Yeah.
with it. And it's like, I mean, honestly, truthfully, Ariana doesn't even like talk about Sandoval unless it's like the show.
Yeah.
And then other than that, she's like not dealing with him. And
I
also
think she's
like,
talking about the house stuff.
yeah,
But go
which
ahead.
I'm kind of like, I get what she's saying,
I
removing
get what she's
herself from the
saying.
space, but I'm also like, Tom should leave.
Yeah.
Because he cheated. And like,
But
I think that's also, it's one of those things where this show tends to be slightly rooted in a little misogyny throughout the
hmm
years, where it's like the men get away with everything and the women are often deemed as like difficult and like hard
mm
to deal with and just like maybe emotional or like bitchy. And it's like
hmm
you have this situation where this man cheated and did all this stuff and he still has the audacity to stay in the house, be shady about it, do all this stuff. But Ariana, who is wronged, she should leave. And it's
Yeah.
unreasonable that she's not leaving.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
like,
true.
but this is also her house. I get trying to maybe convince her just energy wise and like being like, look, like, don't you want like a good energy and a good space? But it's also like, why should she waste her money on an apartment? And
Yeah.
she could like stay in this house and be separate. And also another recent thing, she just bought a $1.6 million house in the Hollywood Hills. So she was
Sheena
just
did?
no, Ariana.
Ariana did. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think she's like taking her time. I don't know, it's all complicated. And
It's
like
very complicated. There's a lot to these guys.
there's
So
a lot.
yeah.
But
Oh.
you know
Yeah,
who
yeah.
doesn't give a fuck about any of that?
Katie?
Katie. I love that one thing about Katie, she doesn't care. She's gonna
Yo.
say what she thinks, how she feels. She doesn't care about the dynamics of the show. She doesn't care about none of that. She's like, nah, like this is how I feel. And honestly,
Katie
I
gives
respect it.
zero shits. She's
Mm,
like, I don't fucking care. She is so down for Ariana. I love it. Like even how it's them two in the intro, because they're definitely like a duo. But
yeah.
like it makes sense why Katie is so down bad for Ariana because like they both kind of went through similar things in the sense that they were betrayed by their partners.
Hmm.
Um, because and like Tom was connected to it for
Yeah.
Katie.
The
So
Toms were
Katie's
holding them back.
they were both like Ariana's annoyed with Schwartz, Katie's annoyed with Sandoval, and it makes sense. Those two really like stuck together, and I honestly do think it's messed up. I don't care who you're friends with or whatever. If you're gonna call yourself my friend, you know someone is doing something they should not be doing, and it's been months. How long? 7 months?
Um,
Allegedly, but it's probably more, right?
the affair was 7 months. Yeah.
Are we doing October or are we doing longer? Because
That part.
I remember after the reunion they were like, no, it was
It was
another time.
it was August, but it was on and off. But then
Well,
Raquel was
who
like, it actually wasn't on and off.
like it was too long. 2 months is too long.
Yeah.
2 weeks is too long, seriously. So
Right.
like Shorts ain't shit for not saying anything either. Like that's so messed up. But
Hmm.
yeah, Katie's amazing. Katie's funny. I just love how she's also very like black and white. Like, no, don't talk to either of them. They're both disgusting. And she has 100 reasons why she should say that. Um, so yeah, she's just very much like on the same energy as Ariana. I'm not doing this. No, I'm not interested. You can do it. She's not giving people ultimatums, but I
Yeah.
wanted to know, like, how much was Sandoval really interfering in her marriage for her to be that mad about it?
So here's the thing with Katie. Katie, I would argue, has had the one of the biggest evolutions of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like truly like I think she's never looked better. I think
Hmm.
she's come into herself, like style wise as well. Her style's been very questionable. It still kind of is. But
Mm-hmm.
personality wise as well. Because I think with Schwartz, she really like lost herself and was trying to make a
Mm-hmm.
relationship work that clearly wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
And it like made her miserable. Katie used to be like the one everyone hated. And
Mm.
like no one liked her, viewers didn't like her. Like she was always deemed miserable. But now it's kind of done a 180 and she has a lot of viewer support. She's found you can see within herself, like even if you watch past seasons, you would be able to tell, like you can just see it within her, like the change is just like emitting from her.
Yeah.
So she's had the biggest glow up. As far as Tom Sandoval kind of interfering. To an extent, he did, it's complicated too, because the thing with Tom and Katie, they were the most miserable couple in the world.
Really?
They were trying to convince us that they were a good couple. When they act like, oh, they have this
Uh,
good relationship, or like if people were rooting for them, no,
oh,
no,
really? It
everyone
was
saw how
bad.
toxic they were. They were awful. They
Um,
always fought. They almost broke up 8 times before their wedding. He cheated
oh,
on her multiple times.
oh my gosh,
Like they're the worst couple. So when Schwartz
bro.
even says stuff like, I look back on our relationship with fondness, it's like, what?
I never heard him say that. He was like, I hate
Well,
Katie.
like he's in like I think last season he tried to say it, and it was just like,
uh,
really? Interesting.
no, this season he's very
Um
much like, I hate that girl. Katie's so annoying.
she's
Oh
so
gosh.
mean. Ah.
Yeah.
But with Tom, he definitely I think the thing is Schwartz was very codependent on Sandoval. And he wouldn't
That's
defend
weird.
Katie often if Sandoval was saying stuff
Oh,
about
I
her.
don't like that. I don't like that at all.
So it was just, he would sometimes. I'll give him a little credit. There were times he did, but there were also a lot of times where he didn't.
And
And
Tom was in his ear giving him advice.
I think kind of, and maybe saying bad things about Katie. I think, I'm not going to say he didn't play any role in how Shorts felt about Katie, but I don't think it was the biggest thing. I do think them making Shorts and Sandy's the bar was kind of the nail in the coffin because he kind of didn't prioritize Katie. And it was the
Yeah.
big thing with Sandoval. And Sandoval and Katie had gotten into it in season 9 because Katie wanted to kind of like give her input because at the time her and Shorts were married. And she's like, if y'all are making this big investment and this is going to affect my household, like I want to be able to like know what's going on and like maybe have a say in some stuff. And Sandoval didn't like that. But Schwartz did set it up because Schwartz would tell Katie stuff he didn't like about Sandoval and dealing with Schwartz and Sandy's, how he didn't like the name. Sandoval didn't show up a lot of times to meetings. And so he would kind of pin Katie and Sandoval against each other. But then when they would argue about it, he wouldn't have Katie's back. And he'd be like, Katie,
Yeah.
chill. So it's like, it's very
Yeah.
complicated. It's very layered.
Yeah. I don't see him
Um,
as being I don't see him as being a partner that gives you space to voice concerns and feel supported, to like,
no.
have a bad day and get some support. Any support doesn't seem like it. So that makes I see why people are applauding Katie because now she's kind of like coming into her own, speaking her own
She did.
mind. So like, this low key makes me have more sympathy for Lala because I feel like she was probably in a similar like toxic relationship, and now she's like coming in, not making excuses for herself, wanting to be better, but also wanting the people around her to also be like, guys, come on,
Yeah.
like
But
hold
that's where
yourself accountable
Lala
to something.
also will sometimes lose me because it's like, okay, so you know how these men can be, but it's almost like you're then, and you were in
You
a
don't
similar
remember.
situation, but then you kind
Yeah.
of excuse them and then try to villainize
Yeah.
the other people. It's like you're doing kind of what was done to you.
Yeah.
It's so layered. It's so
I
layered.
don't I don't think Ariana, she shouldn't have to. But I don't, maybe she has. But on the show, I don't think Ariana is really laying it out. All we see is her saying, no, I don't want to associate with him. If you associate him, I don't associate with you. No, I don't want to leave my house. No, I don't want him throwing parties. That's what we
Hmm.
see. We
Yeah.
don't see her talking about, like, y'all, my world has been turned upside down. I thought I trusted this person.
Yeah.
Here are the ways that he has been so insensitive, like how
Mhm.
his affair was like so insidious. She's not talking about it, so I think they're forgetting, and all they're seeing is Sandoval crying,
Yeah.
being the big ass baby that he is.
Yeah, she's not leaning into like the emotional part of it, which maybe she will at one point. I think she's trying to like like
Oh
just
no,
like
I don't think she
persevere
has
through.
to. I
Yeah,
think
but
that's
I
why
do
people
get what you
aren't
mean. I can
considering
get
her.
why if people don't see that though, maybe for a minute you're like, okay, well you seem fine, but then it's also like then
Exactly.
you take a step back and you're like, well, okay, maybe you're not. You're just kind of like coping. It's like it's very
Yeah.
complicated and it's kind of like
Yeah. Are you really her friend if you didn't ask? Are you
that
her
part
friend if you
too.
don't know? So
That
now I'm
part
questioning,
too.
like, are you guys Sheena? I see Katie hanging out with her. Katie probably knows. But
Katie
like,
probably does.
you know, and we also didn't, this is like a little bit after. I don't know. I think the girls have a little bit of tunnel. I think Sheena and Lala have a little bit of tunnel vision. Um,
They're also very
I don't know. And then I'm sure Lisa got to them because isn't that who Lisa met with? It was
yes,
the
and
two of
told him
them.
about the Tom having
Suicidal stuff.
yeah, which you know, I don't think she should have told them that. I thought that was like kind of inappropriate. Because I think if someone is coming to you about that, it needs to be like you need to go to someone like that's equipped to deal with that
To
situation.
deal with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
instead of it becoming a, because honestly, I hate to be a douche and say it, but I wondered if it was sincere.
My thing is, I think he probably felt it during the scandal. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. It was crazy. So, like, and
Yeah.
of course, we wouldn't want him to do that.
Of
I think
course.
him bringing it up on camera to Lisa, whose brother had committed suicide, I think that was something that was a little like
Yeah.
maybe
And I
like he knew what he was doing.
and he almost said it as a defense.
That's the thing,
He
too.
didn't come in and he wasn't like, Lisa, I've had the worst day. I've had such a hard time. Because she started saying, like, Tom, you haven't really quite taken accountability. You haven't really been apologetic. It's like, I have apologized. It's
Dude,
always
I
like,
have. I always
he's like, you're
apologize.
attacking me. And it's like, Tom, for real,
She's
she's
actually not.
attacking
She's
you.
just trying to be real.
Literally asking normal questions that you should ask anyone who has done something they should not have done. You
Hmm.
know? Um, so him saying, and I mean, maybe it's not a stretch. Maybe he was really in distress. I don't know. It just didn't seem very genuine. And then he hasn't really brought it up since. Like
Yeah.
they've talked about it, but he hasn't. So that also makes me kind of question like how valid it is. But I know he got a lot of hate. I know he got a lot of
Yeah.
smoke. Any man who's gonna cheat, who's in the public eye, is gonna get a lot of crap for it. Um, and because he wasn't taking accountability, he got a lot more,
And still to this day, well,
Isn't really,
it's
yeah.
insane. To close out Katie though, I need them to open that something about her shop. I guess they had to like clear out the patio area because West Hollywood, there was like some permit issues and they were like restructuring that area. And I think there's also been stuff with like inspectors and stuff that like have been taking a long time to like do stuff.
Yeah.
So like, but allegedly, they got a lot of what they needed cleared, and it should be opening a lot sooner than
Oh, it's
expected.
still not open?
Still not open, but
Dang.
it should be opening. I would say this year. I don't know. I
That's
hope.
crazy. That's
It's still
crazy.
gonna get the thing is people were like,
He
it
needs to
needs to
hurry up.
open as soon as possible because it's gonna lose steam. And I'm like, this show's still popping. They'll still get people going there. Like,
I just don't know if it's gonna work well. Lisa had some good points.
you
It's like
know,
y'all have spent a lot of money and you're selling sandwiches. You sell a lot of sandwiches to break
right.
even or make a profit at all.
Y'all need to like give some deals, some BOGO deals.
Literally,
Like
you need to
try to
do
get all the
something.
people.
Get some
Um,
wine on the menu, something to help you make some
I do
money.
think they do have a liquor license, so they're gonna have
Oh, okay,
alcohol.
that's
So
good.
that should at
That will
least
help.
help, hopefully, with some of it. I mean, Ariana's probably like, damn, how did I get in this sandwich shop? Like, I'm getting all these opportunities.
She probably doesn't have time for it. I love how the sandwich tasting is the same sandwich tasting from last year's sandwich
It
change.
was. I think they
When
had
James
one
was
or
like,
two new ones, I
they
think.
James said all three were the same. He was like, as weeks turn to months and months turn into more months.
I'm wondering,
I'm
is the
wondering.
sandwich shop opening? Speaking of, what do you think of DJ James Kennedy?
He's cool. Love his journey of sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
He did seem actually they showed clips of him and Lala. They both seemed very like crazy.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. So like he seems cool. Love his little DJing. I would love to see him like I would actually love to actually see him DJ so I could like know that he's a good DJ, but he seems like, a fun guy, life of the party. Um, I like that he's trying to hold Tom accountable as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the way I was a little confused because the way he portrays Tom is like Tom was like this saint could do no wrong guy. Was he really like that?
Um, Sandoval, so him and Sandoval have a bit of a checkered past as well because I think this was mentioned this season. James, when was gonna be on the show because he was gonna like do music with Sandoval, like season 3 or like before
Oh.
season 3, and they were like good friends. I think they were friends for just a few months though. But then James started sleeping with Kristen. And
Mm.
ended up that's how he got on the show. And then him and Tom became kind of enemies, like against like him and Kristen versus Tom and Ariana, like that type of thing. But shortly after like the next season, James and Kristen break up. Him and Sandoval slowly kind of start to develop a friendship. And then it does develop into a very like big brother, little brother type thing.
Mm.
Sandoval did often look out for James, and when the group would try to ice him out, sometimes
Oh.
within good reason, because
Yeah,
James was a
yeah.
lot, but also they were a lot, so it was
Yeah.
complicated.
Yeah.
He would always try to make sure that James was kind of around or trying to like get him to like be a part of the show.
Yeah.
And so, but also Sandoval did pay like almost 30 grand for James's proposal to Rachel,
Wow.
which is also why it's wild that then he ended up
Yeah.
afterwards. So that's where a lot of the betrayal comes from. But
Oh,
I
got
do
it.
think in a lot of ways he did look out for him.
Okay.
But I think also with the whole Raquel stuff, the mask was kind of ripped off.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Is Sandoval paying these guys? Because it doesn't, now the pieces aren't adding up. Because in one moment, James is like, Tom, like, can you be accountable for something? Like, can you hold yourself to something? Can you apologize? Can you make it sincere? And Sandoval is like, I have, bro, I have. No, leave me alone. You're attacking me. He did that with Lala. He did
Hmm.
that with James. He did that with Sheena. And then they turn around and they're like, we can be friends again. Guys, you asked him to hold himself accountable to something. He will not. He's defensive. He's not apologetic. But then you turn a blind eye. Now I'm even more confused because I'm just remembering his conversation with James. I think James tried to call him out like maybe a couple of times, more than once. Like, bro,
Yeah.
can you show some remorse? You have girls at your house that you share with your ex. Like, hold
Hmm.
yourself accountable to something, bro. And, now they're having steak dinners and he's buying him stuff. And Allie's like, I think he's trying to buy his favor, which I think so too.
Hmm. Well, this is where I'm also like, this is, I think, where producers are like, y'all got to film with Tom. So they're just like, okay, we'll be cool with Tom. Like, it's fine. And then kind of there's a friendship, but kind
because
of
the
not.
because the only way to film with him is to not mention any of the stuff that he's the only way to film with
Basically.
him is to be for
So
his
they're like,
friend.
yeah,
Okay.
they're like, hey, Tom, want a mocktail? Like, we're at lunch. Hey, what are you doing? Have a good day.
I don't see why his interaction with Shorts in the group can't be enough.
That part
That
too.
they
I don't
have to
know.
do one-on-ones.
Yeah. James, though, he's funny. He's very entertaining, always the comedic relief of the group and very funny, but he's a bit problematic. There's been some allegations from Kristen and Raquel that maybe he wasn't the healthiest person to be in a relationship with.
Oh, I'm sure.
And
Especially with
like,
how much he was drinking.
yeah, and that's the thing too, because like he would often take things too far, like even in the show. And
Mm,
there would be some things that were funny, and like a lot of the group was hypocrites, and they would be like, James is too much. And it's just like, well, y'all are too much as well.
mm-hmm,
So it's just kind of like, I think they just didn't like some of the stuff he did, and also that he was like kind of entertaining and maybe
mm,
taking away some of the spotlight from them. Him and
yeah.
Jax were a big feud.
Mm,
Overall, he is kind of problematic. He does seem to be chill, but I do think he still kind of has an underlying angry side,
mm-hmm.
though. But like this season, he's kind of funny. Like the sloppy Joe comment at the sandwich tasting was very funny.
I don't even think he intended to do that, do you?
Oh, he intended it
Oh,
to.
I
But
love it. I love it.
I don't know if he knew it would be as funny as it
That
was.
was
It
hilarious.
was
Everybody was
good.
just like, oh, that Lala's like, yeah, skip over the tasting except for this part. I was like, this is very well orchestrated, Lala.
It was a good moment. But from there, let's get into the Toms. What do you
Let's
think of the
talk about Tom
Toms?
Toms.
Schwartz and
Um,
Sandoval.
all right, well, we'll start with Shorts. Shorts is very concerning. That guy needs both of them need extensive therapy on and therapy where close loved ones and relatives and friends are involved because we have some stuff for y'all to work with. The most blaring red flag for Tom Schwartz was when he was talking. I think this was his diary thing. He was like, I dabble in sobriety, Sometimes I just go on a binger or like I'll just drink very heavily and then I'll have my period of not and then I want to do it again. And it's like, what's wrong?
Not
Yeah.
dabbling in sobriety.
Yeah.
Sobriety benders? What do you mean? You just didn't drink
Like,
for a week?
right, that's weird. And then sober curious? Didn't know that was a thing.
Schwartz is bullshit. Everything
So
about him.
why are you sober curious? Like when people say they're sober, okay, I'm not drinking. That's one thing. But when I'm sober, it's like I need to stop drinking. Like alcohol is a problem and I need to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So like his relationship with alcohol and stuff really concerns me. Like he sounds like he has some unhealthy habits that he needs to work with or work through. His like relationship with Joe is completely unfair. Like I do not think that you should be stringing this girl along, letting her live with you, letting her hang out with you, but you don't want anything serious and blah blah. Like obviously she doesn't feel that way.
No,
So
but
I don't
that's
like
like
that.
Schwartz's MO. He
Mm,
like Schwartz is very problematic,
hmm
but he often gets away with it because he's like, oh shucks, like, oh, what's happening? Like, and like he like does like that puppy dog thing. That was
hmm
kind of also like his dynamic with Katie. Katie was like the
mm,
miserable one, and he was the charming one that got away from everything, like with everything,
mm,
even though
hmm
he cheated on her multiple times, even though he often would poke her, and then when she would explode, flip it and be like, oh my gosh, why are you doing this?
hmm
Season two, he poured a beer on her head in Mexico. And then when she was upset about it the next day, berated her at a birthday dinner and like was whispering all this shit to her. And then when she cried, everyone thought she was crazy because they couldn't hear what he was saying to her. Like he's low
Wow.
key evil. He does not like women. Like he has a deep, he's so quick, and I say that with my whole
Yeah.
chest. He is so
Yeah.
quick to like go off on a woman and all this, but will never have the same amount of smoke with any of the guys. Like
Mm.
he often like is Sandoval's little bitch. Like even though he tried to come for him early in the season, that lasted what, half an episode? And then
Yeah.
he was back to
Yeah.
being his friend.
He was
But
like on a
notice
podcast speaking bad
Ariana
about
says
him.
one thing and he's like, wow, you have such an ego. You're such a diva. And like she
Mm.
said one thing because you knew about the affair and hid it from her, despite also being
Yeah.
her friend and having her be a groomsman in your wedding. Like
Yeah.
he's got a lot of stuff. He's also like
Yeah.
he's truly the epitome of like a straight white male having everything handed to him. He
Mm.
literally was such a loser, couldn't do anything, could not even serve drinks at this one event, season three. Had like a panic attack and had to run out after 30 minutes. But season
Oh.
five, Lisa's like, oh, I have this wonderful idea, Tom. So what if I open a bar called Tom Tom and you guys had a stake or ownership in it? Oh. And guess what? Sandoval at first was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Schwartz's first thing, I don't know if we can do that. Like that sounds like a lot of work. And so like he's just handed all these
Mm.
opportunities and like
Yeah.
he's just like he's a bum. He dresses
Yeah.
like a bum. His apartment's disgusting. And I'm glad Katie finally came to the conclusion that she deserved better
Yeah.
and left him. And
Yeah.
I think a part of him regrets that a little bit that he didn't hold on to her tighter.
Yeah,
Um
I mean well, he doesn't express that, but he expressed missing the house. It looked like a nice house. He's like, "Dang, I had a
That's
house
true.
once."
He's
Not
a
you had a whole wife, my guy, and you're missing your house.
right. And also your house, they literally their house was the same as Tom and Ariana's. They all bought like these farmhouses. So it was
Mm-hmm.
just like it was basically the same house. But anyways,
Yeah. I like that he at least has some common sense. Like maybe
just
it's not common
sometimes.
sense, maybe it's PR training. Because sometimes when Tom opens his mouth, he's like, dude, don't say that. Like
No, he
on the
has
Vile
enough
Files.
like like sense about him where he knows when something's explicitly
Like that's
like
not okay. Do not say that.
yeah,
Yeah. So like he seems like that, but yeah, his way of moving is just interesting. And then he just looks disheveled in the diaries. Like his hair is always messed up and stuff. And I'm just like, are you all right? Like
his hair is consistently messed up and I'm like, Schwartz, brush your hair.
I know there's people back there that could help you get
Right?
ready a
Like
little
what is
bit.
going on? It's so stupid.
Oh
I can't.
gosh. So his behavior is very concerning. I don't like his whole thing with Joe. I think he's like stringing her along. I just don't want, but I want. I do like his like I mean, literally, if it wasn't for him, Tom Sandoval wouldn't be so involved with the group. Like,
No.
he's literally like creating bridges for Tom
Hmm.
to like come over. And so I get that he's like his friend and stuff, but I do think that they are right in saying like you are best friends with a guy who does not give two shits about you. Like him
No,
letting
yeah.
the business fold and not being able to see that, like he was upset for a little bit, but like, yo, this guy he did mess up your business. You only have 2%.
Yeah.
So it going down is not great for you, you know?
Yeah. It's just that's the one thing too. He's like loyal to a fault with
Yeah,
Sandoval.
that's what they keep saying. And I agree. I agree. Like if there's someone in your life who literally doesn't have your best interest at heart, you don't have to cut them off, but keep your distance. Like don't go into a business with them. Don't, like I don't know how deep their friend I mean, it seems like their friendship is pretty deep, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Both of them really need some serious help. I feel like the fame has probably gotten to them. We're so quick to call everybody a narcissist. I actually think that Sandoval is a narcissist. I don't
Oh
know about
no.
Schwartz.
Schwartz, yeah, I don't think Schwartz is. I do think like maybe sticks by Sandoval because in comparison, he looks good next to Sandoval now. So there is that part.
Yeah, a little bit
Um,
better.
but when it comes to Sandoval, he's a full-blown narcissist. Like he's
Yeah,
like insane.
yeah.
It's like, what do you think about Sandoval?
Oh my gosh. It's just the like, no one can say anything to you. That is so concerning. If I
Yeah.
open my mouth and I say, Tom, can you? Defensive, on the verge of tears, like you're turning into a child. You're breaking down. This is toddler behavior, having a tantrum. Like they showed a clip of him crying when Lisa was at his house and he was like crying on the wall. My guy, literally relax,
I
like
can't with him.
hyperventilating and stuff. Like you intentionally cheated on your partner, your longtime partner, for 7 months. Had
Hmm.
sex with this girl in the house, in your bed, in your like home, in your relationship. Like this is literally where your partner sleeps, long-term partner sleeps, and you brought this girl here. You did it intentionally for 7 months, lied to her. You saw people were catching on. You continue to lie. Like I get why she says he's a crazy,
All these
scary
things.
man. Like
No,
that is
yeah.
scary that somebody could be that deceptive. It is a valid thing to say. I would be concerned of people working with you, doing business with you. Like you are a shady person. I understand it 100%. The whole like her dog dying, I was like, okay, girl, I don't know. But her grandma, like skipping her grandma's funeral to sleep
Yeah.
with this girl, that's wild. And then, yeah, the zero accountability. I'm so glad that Rachel went to talk to somebody and got out of this nonsense because you're crazy. And then the whole, oh, I'm gonna save myself for Raquel. Boy, bye. Save yourself. Goodbye. Goodbye. Like even
No.
the fact that you have to say that is concerning.
He's full of it too because like he's just he's a crazy person. Like he
Yeah,
just doesn't get it.
he
And
doesn't.
like he thinks he can like validate it too like oh well Ariana and we just weren't good for a long time and she always belittled me and da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, hearing your side of the story and then seeing things that have actually happened, I can already tell that like your sense of reality isn't the best and it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily match. But it's also like what you fail to realize is despite whether or not maybe you guys were going through relationship troubles, that doesn't excuse a 7 month affair with her
It
friend.
doesn't. It does not.
Nothing excuses it.
No.
So,
Yeah.
and then like he just doesn't get it and he's just like creepy and he looks dirty and it's just like
Yeah, I'm like, what's with these cowboy shirts? Like, where did you buy that?
I don't
Why is your
know.
assistant cleaning your house?
That
That
part,
girl
poor
needs a new.
Anne.
I was like, she is like literally not your. What do you need an assistant for again? Like,
That part. An
come
assistant's supposed to
on.
help you with your business affairs, not like
Right.
clean your kitchen after a party.
Right. She's not your man. Like, if you have a manager, that would make more sense. A publicist, yeah.
Hmm.
An assistant? What are you doing on a day-to-day that you need an assistant?
Nothing. He's too busy,
Can
like
you plan
he,
this pool
he's
party I'm
only
gonna
working
have?
out now, it seems like. I feel like every scene he's at the gym. And then
Yeah.
also it's like I don't understand. He wants to buy the house, but I'm like, can you afford it? So in this past episode, he went up to Ariana and was like, "Oh yeah, I just wanted to see if like you got my letter And so she revealed on the after show that the email was this really informal letter of intent about the house, that the dollar amount, he didn't get an appraisal. So he's like making up this dollar amount.
Oh.
It's like it doesn't mention the furniture or anything that they had spent. That's like
Oh.
$100,000. It's like all this stuff, and it just seemed weird. And like, so they were trying to do like a counter offer. So she's like, he's complaining and like saying I'm not getting back to it, but like he's not really like doing this amazing offer. Like the offer shit, it's informal, it doesn't make sense. There's no appraisal. It's a
Yeah.
letter of intent. Like it's just not, and that's just Tom. His sense of reality and how he frames things is so bizarre and not accurate, which is
Yeah.
why when I side eye Lala and Sheena, because I'm just like, you know, I get maybe let's say you're coming from this like moral, like just trying to like look out for your friend and like them like just move past the situation and all that. You're
Mm-hmm.
writing for Tom Sandoval.
Yeah, like,
And it's like, here's the thing, it's very clear that the producers attempted to make this a redemption season for Sandoval. But what they fail to realize is it's Thomas Sandoval. Like, you're not gonna,
like you
he's not
can't.
gonna play into this. Like,
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Him having anything to say but I'm sorry is just the craziest thing. If you went on an apology tour and people are still crucifying you, I get it, but you didn't. Even at the reunion, you're like defending yourself. I know. I felt like she didn't want to know, and like literally every reason. And it's like he's like he pretty much wants to just people to like brush over the fact that he did something wrong, and we could if you would just take some accountability and show a little bit of remorse, like show a little
yeah,
bit of care for the person that you were with for 9 years. It's literally like as soon as Ariana find out, it was like to hell with Ariana. After their talk, it's like he has no, I don't see him showing any level of care for her. Oh, she's being difficult, she's being this. Like, you put yourself in her shoes for just 2 seconds. You
right.
know? Oh, she's profiting, she's benefiting. So are you, Mr. Special Forces.
Right? Like you're getting opportunities too. Like
You
everyone
are.
is the thing. So it's just like
Yeah.
I don't, and also I feel like the producers like grossly underestimated like the intelligence level of the audience.
Yeah.
Because I think they think, oh, if we see Tom's crying about his mistress in his closet and doing this breathing work and showing that it was like a difficult time for him, that we'll be able to sympathize with him. On that note though, on the other side, while they're trying to give Tom this redemption arc, they're
Mhm.
very much trying to give Ariana a villain arc,
They are.
which
They
is
are.
wild because she's the true
Well,
victim
this is
in
this
this
is
situation.
this is like what I was saying earlier. Like, we're not seeing any of her grieving process. We're not seeing any of it. She's very like stone cold. I'm not, I don't fuck with him.
Hmm.
I want to go hang out with my girls, have a good time. She's not, the only time she goes into that stuff is when somebody brings him up.
Yeah.
And so like I think I don't
Ye-
it's literally so messy. Like him saying I'm going to do, like, you're not even doing therapy, you're doing this like weird breathing thing. Go
Mhm.
to therapy, Tom. You need to sit down and find out why you thought it was okay to cheat on your partner of 9 years with somebody for 7 months and aren't sure why Raquel is not speaking. Like, you need to know all of this stuff.
You need
Like,
to
the
do some
fact that
work.
you need to I would be curious if all of the people I love, like, I can betray this one. Let's just like let you be upset about Raquel for 2 minutes. Oh, I miss her. And then the next episode, you're having pool parties with random people. That poor 25-year-old. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. I was like, oh my gosh. So Brock and Sheena are in the corner. Oh, this is Tom's date. I thought Ariana was gonna be mean to her. Ariana is just like, how old are you? Oh, sweetie.
She's like 25 and she's like, makes sense.
Makes sense. Do not trust him. He cheated on me with my best friend. I went to my grandmother's funeral and he was sleeping with her. And she's like, oh my gosh, you're so strong. And then she was still standing there, and I was like, sis, go, leave.
Right.
Do
And then
not become
she's like,
another
don't waste your
casualty.
time with a 41-year-old narcissist.
No way.
Now, that girl T went on. So Billy Lee,
Mm-hmm.
Tom's blonde friend that's in a lot of scenes,
Mm-hmm.
she has a podcast and she had T on.
Oh.
And T a couple weeks ago, I guess, was trying to like talk about the situation and how she felt like set up and it was like awkward. And Ariana was just like going in
Um,
about all these things and da 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 da. So I was like, how is this gonna come across? But then watching it, I'm like, it's kind of funny. And it's
it
like,
is
what
funny.
are you
And she
doing?
wasn't
Like,
being malicious at
no,
all.
she was like, you're the prize. Like, don't waste your time with him.
Yeah, like she was being so nice. I was very surprised. Now I know she was drunk when she got, guys, what, I don't know what's
What is
happening.
happening?
what's
Uh,
what's going, the way she got up, it was like, what's going on? I'm like, what time is it? How much
uh,
have you had to drink?
right.
What's going on? I'm like, oh my gosh, you're adorable. Please drink some water.
Honestly, though, what do you think about Ariana? Because I will say she's I think the last one on the list of the
Oh yeah, we didn't
cast,
do her yet.
and she's always been my favorite. I will say so. But what do you think?
I I feel like I don't know her.
Hmm.
I really don't. All I know is that Sandoval happened. She's gotten some like opportunities to do some cool things, which I love for her.
Yeah.
She has some strict, I think her rule about friends is a little messed up, but I don't feel like I know her enough to like really make a judgment about her. I wish we could hear like her feelings, her thoughts, her opinions
Hmm.
outside of her but that also kind of does show her character. Like she seems like a very strong person, not a super emotional person, not one to like
Hmm.
be like put all of her business out there. It really is none of America's business. So I
Yeah.
also kind of get that and I respect that. I think that some people go through things and they put it all on the table and it's kind of like re-traumatizing to relive it. So I get why she doesn't want to, but just because she hasn't, I don't really think I know her very well, to make like a judgment
Hmm.
of her. But she's strong. She's in like she could have crumbled. She could be in bed. She's not. She's out.
Hmm.
She's living her life. She's doing her thing. I love that. But I wish I knew like her thoughts and feelings towards everything a little bit more, other than I hate him and I want him to die.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah, because that's the thing with Ariana. I've always liked Ariana because she just seemed like the most normal, and I feel like I could like hang out with her. Like she was the one person in the cast. I'm like, oh, you seem chill and you seem like you'd be fun. But a thing with Ariana is she's often been seen as kind of like guarded,
Yeah.
like throughout
I
the
see it.
show. And a lot of times she was like in the earlier seasons, I would say more so would be labeled like the dark cloud. Like people said she wasn't happy and like depressed. Now, granted,
Hmm.
when the show first started around that time, her father, I think, had unexpectedly died. So I think she kind
Um,
of buried a lot of that within herself and like it
yeah.
came across a certain way. I
Yeah.
think slowly but surely she got out of that funk, but I think she does kind of suffer with depression. I think she's one of those people where like she never really wanted to be on reality TV, but the opportunity came and like she sees how toxic it can be, so she puts that guard up.
Yeah.
And I think Scandival is something that really affected her.
Yeah.
And like I think she would pick like I mean, she has gotten a lot of great opportunities, so I don't know if she would pick like it never happening, but maybe
Mhm.
the way it happened, she wouldn't want it to
Yeah.
be. Because also, funny enough, she's the one it happened to, but
Yeah.
she has done the least amount of podcasts. She has talked
Mm,
about it the least amount.
yeah.
She's just kind of been dealing with it and just taking the opportunities that come her way.
Yeah.
So, and I think she's just like, almost too emotionally mature.
Yeah.
Like, because you have Sheena crying to her about the Dancing
Yeah.
with the Stars,
And she's like,
and
so
she's
what
trying to
does that
be
have to
like,
do with me?
right? She's like, Sheena, like, are you mad at me? Like, I hear you're mad at me. And she's like, I hate when people talk for me. Flashback of all these times Sheena's like, why is it never about me? Like, oh my God, like, why is she on Dancing with the Stars and I'm not? And, and Ariana's like, I'm sorry I didn't tell you. Maybe
No,
I should
that's
have.
literally so valid because Ariana did not have anything to apologize to Sheena for. She really
Hmm.
didn't, at least in my eyes. But she's like, look,
No.
it made you upset. I'm sorry.
Right.
She's like, let me move on. I agree with you. I do think she's the most normal. And honestly, I feel like you should be that on like you should be like that on reality TV. Like you should maintain your self-care, whatever that
Hmm.
looks like for you. So I love that she's doing that.
Yeah.
I would, yeah. I mean, I don't blame. I think people saying, "Oh, you're too closed off, girl." No, like I'm me. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's fine for her to be like, be like that. And honestly, she's probably leaving this really traumatic because being in a relationship with Tom, I'm sure was just exhausting. I saw those clips. She was just defending him all the time. And people are like, yo, he's doing this, he's doing that. And then
Hmm.
like when it did come to a head, she really stood her ground and was like, absolutely not. I'm done with
Yeah.
you. And I love that. I love that so much that she was able to kind of like get like once she had some, I mean, you shouldn't have needed some hardcore evidence, but once she had some hardcore evidence
Right.
was like, hey,
You
I'm done
can't
with
deny
this.
this. Like, because everything else before, I think when it was speculated, it was kind of like, maybe. But I could also see, like, you would never think one of your best friends and your boyfriend of 9 years is doing
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
like, it might take seeing that video and being like,
Yeah.
oh shit, this is happening. Never mind.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I do think that like I agree. The edit is not they're not giving her a fair edit. Going back to what you said earlier, they're not giving her a very fair edit because and like we know it because literally every time she opens her mouth to defend herself, it's 100% valid. Nobody has anything to say.
that
Like
part. But that's the wild thing too, because again, with the producers kind of like underestimating the audience intelligence, it's like a villain edit, but she's not necessarily being a villain, but they're
yeah,
trying to make it seem like she is, but it's like, no, but she was the one wronged in it. So of course she's not gonna be
literally.
nice in this situation.
Right.
And like she's being logical, so it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
The only thing that misses me is the friend thing, and I know we talked about it, so we don't
hmm
have to go through it again. But that's the only thing where I'm just like, I get it. You don't want people being super close with him and stuff like that. But you were all friends. This was the group you all were in, you shared
yeah.
together. I don't think it's 100% fair to just be like, oh no, if you talk to him, I'm not your friend, you know?
Also, there's the show aspect, and people need to like interact.
Yeah.
So it's just like, which I think as the season goes on, she's like being less because she's showing up in group scenes with him.
Yeah.
So it's like that's something.
Yeah.
But she ain't giving no one that
No,
one-on-one that they want.
no. I mean, even this, when he walked up to her at the party and was like, "Hey, Ariana, can you answer my email?"
She's
I really thought she was about to go in on him. But
my
she was
lawyer
like,
has it.
"Yeah." And then it was just like, "Yeah," like she just moved on with
Uh,
it. And I was like, "Okay, this is actually like a very common way." But also, you have some fucking nerve walking up to me with anything but an apology. I
that
don't care
part.
that it's been a couple months. I don't even know. Like, during the confrontation, he was just like defending himself. Oh, I love Raquel, and then that's why she was like screaming and stuff.
No,
Like
yeah, because he's just like, we developed a really good connection. And she's like, stop, I don't give a fuck about Raquel. That was like her most
literally,
raw, like the power of Ariana in that moment. Like,
yeah,
but it was just like he wasn't fully owning it. He was just being
he
like, you made me
wasn't.
stay in the relationship. I tried to break up with you. And she's like, then why did you sleep with me that night? You say you
Hmm.
wanted to maybe end it, but then you acted like we weren't over and you stayed. So it's like, what do you mean? And
The
that's where
fa
Tom's like, when he's like, oh, I tried to break up with her 3 times. But then a lot of those instances were on camera and it was clear, like, that's not you breaking up. That's like you bringing up an issue, y'all talking about it, and then you crying saying you want to make it work.
all of these girls were in such toxic relationships. It's sad. I was in a toxic relationship. So I feel like when you come out of a toxic relationship, literally how your whole brain chemistry can change.
Hmm.
Like the relationship I was in was so toxic that I would not leave because I was like, no, this is my person, blah blah blah, made excuses.
Hmm.
Homeboy left me, and the first thing I felt was relief.
All
You
right.
know? So like when the wool is pulled from your eyes and you can truly see things how they are and like be clear, like it's so freeing. And I'm sure they both like were able to kind of like bond over this like coming to themselves because
Yeah.
yeah, you can't be yourself around this person. This person is controlling you. This person is doing XYZ. Not
Hmm.
not that it's 100% their fault, you know. You also have to take some reflection like why did I personally get in with this relationship, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that like I can see why they were able to like build this connection. And I love it for them. Like that's awesome. Like
Right.
I'm glad that there is somebody on the cast who's like 10 toes down, like this was not okay, you know? I
Yeah.
get it. I get it. I get the people on the fence, but I think if Ariana was beat up and in bed and blah blah blah, they'd be saying a lot of different things.
Yeah. And
Maybe they're
also,
like, "Oh, you're fine. You have money. You're fine. You're getting deals."
but
Like as if
money
that
does
makes it
not
better.
fix the emotional trauma that it
It
caused.
doesn't. It doesn't. Not at
And
all.
also, like, it's a show, so we get it. But, like, could you imagine if you had to be around your ex who cheated on you for 7 months with one of your good friends? Like, that's not normal.
Well, I'm sure they're making exceptions too because they're like, "Oh, well, she lives with him, so she's fine to be
Yeah.
around
But it's
him."
like they don't talk. They talk through the assistant. And it's like,
Yeah,
it's actually very awkward and real, like, weird. So, like, I don't know.
very.
But that was pretty much the cast breakdown with
Yeah.
everything. And basically a lot of what was going on with the like all the episodes so far, but episode 9 did just air last night. Do we want to talk about just like a little bit of the key points? Because there were some messy
Yeah.
moments.
There was some messy moments. I don't understand why Schwartz would drop that he made out with Sheena 12 years ago. Also don't understand why Katie is upset about it. Brock is completely fine. He has the, I think, appropriate reaction. But I think for Katie, it's like you have a laundry list of wronging me, and I'm just gonna add this other one. I don't know.
It's complicated. Here's the thing, because I see some people, I see a lot of people supporting Katie, but I was listening to one podcast where they were kind of saying maybe she was like being typical Katie and like miserable about it and like harping on something. I actually think compared to how she's been in the past, she was relatively tame for
Yeah.
how she usually is. And I can understand it's not that you're necessarily upset that he cheated. He had cheated before, but I
Hmm.
could see why she would feel like a secret was kept from her about someone
Yes.
that was like in the group.
Right.
And Sheena also, there was a point where her and Sheena were really close. Sheena was a bridesmaid in the wedding.
Yeah.
So it's like you were a
They mentioned
bridesmaid in
that.
my wedding, and then you didn't even tell me about this thing that happened.
Yeah.
Whether it was just one kiss or not, it's still like I could see her
Yeah.
feeling like icky and just like, what the fuck?
I get why Sheena didn't say anything, but I do think it's messy that she didn't say anything
Hmm.
for such a long time.
That's the thing,
I
like the
don't know.
longest. And then it
She
was
was
weird
probably
how it was brought
embarrassed.
up.
Very.
Yeah.
Why would literally Schwartz, that's why I really think that he has a problem with alcohol. Because, like, why are you opening your mouth to say this? For
It's like
funsies.
I don't know. But Katie got her revenge because she slept with his best friend Max.
I think that's really messed up. This is
I
my
lived
thing.
for it.
This is my thing. I get it. I get it too. My thing is, if you want to say, hey, you are a piece of shit because you did this, 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 and this, and then you go do something similar, does not make it right. Does not make you better. I do
It's
see why people are like, oh, she wants to just like be better than him or whatever. But that's not right. Also, that guy is not your friend. Shouldn't have
oh
been in a
no.
situation to sleep with your ex-wife at all.
He was on season 8 of the show.
Mm-hmm.
He got fired for racist tweets. So that's his backstory.
Oh,
But
another gem. Another
another
gem.
gem,
Another Vanderpump man. That's just a great man.
right? And my thing is this, I get the like I don't think Short should be mad at Katie because it's like you cheated on her how many times? And then like
Yeah.
you also made out with Raquel 3 weeks after your divorce or 3 months after your divorce when she asked you not to like do anything with the group. So then a year later, her sleeping with your friend is kind of like I can see you being like whatever, but like you should be mostly mad at the friend. My only thing with Katie is I'm like, do you like go off, have your revenge. Like I'm not gonna be too hard on you. But it's like it's hard because she has kind of been like also on her like soapbox and moral high ground about a lot. So then when you
Yeah.
do something that can be perceived shady and try to cover it, it's just
Yes.
not the best look. Even if it's not
Mm.
necessarily the same because it was a year later, he cheated
Yeah.
on you while you were together. You and him haven't been together. So it's not a cheating thing. It just can look shady,
Very
is the
shady.
thing.
And hypocritical, which is
Yeah.
it's very hypocritical to just be like, "Oh, but you did that." And so I don't care. I loved because what we need to know is this true, Katie? First off, why does Sheena have everybody's location?
She said on an after show she has 56 people's
That makes no
locations.
sense. Like
No, it's like,
that's
well, Sheena's that girl.
different.
She like has her wrist thing with the phone, and she has her nails. She's like, oh yeah, this person's here, and another person's there. Oh my god, Ariana's at Dancing with the Stars
I
again.
feel like
Oh.
she has it just to be messy, you know?
I mean,
Like
at this point, she's
and then her getting mad at Brock, like I know you guys were keying about it. You just didn't want him to bring it up on camera. I get it. I get it.
yeah.
I get it. You know, I'm talking shit with my boyfriend. I don't want him to come and like say stuff to other people. But like her checking the location and checking it in the morning, like you really didn't need to do any of it. But I
No.
was looking at Katie's reaction and it's like 100% true. Because she was just like,
Well,
and
she
then
didn't
somebody
expect
said
it
it
to.
again.
Yeah, and she knew it wouldn't look good. You could tell she was like, ugh.
Oop, oop,
And
oop.
like he confronts her next week about it, but he didn't seem too like upset. He was more like
Yeah.
just saying it.
You slept with my friend. I
Right.
mean, for her to go up to him and say, like, well, so I'm just learning another thing about what you've done to me.
Hmm.
Like, literally that day.
Joe. What do you think of Joe?
I so they said that Joe moved in how many weeks after the divorce?
I guess it was she texted Katie, "Oh, I love you. I'm rooting for you. I respect you." Da 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 da. And then 3 months later, moved in with Schwartz secretly and didn't
Yeah.
tell anyone.
Like Katie, again, everybody is so delulu. I just want to live my life with no accountability. Well, you can't. Not here. Not on this TV show. What's wrong with you?
No.
It's not a good look. I kind of felt bad for her when she was crying and stuff. I was like, "Girl, what? Literally, why are you crying?
My thing, I'm like, if you know these girls don't like you,
Why go?"
why are you going? Which I did think
Yeah.
Sheena was being weird with her with the hat thing and like yelling at her
I
about
think
the
it
hat.
was she was just like, "You got your hair done. Like, take your hat off."
Yeah, but I could see how it was kind of like they
Was it
take it
catty?
off and they're trying to like hide it and be like, "I'll show your hat." Da, 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 da. I think it was just because she even said she doesn't like her and they're not like friends. Maybe if they were friends, it would be
Oh,
fine.
Shayna, that was really me.
No, in that thing. But the other people, I'm like, you know, Katie doesn't like you. Ariana
Yeah.
doesn't like you because you knew about the affair.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like they're not like
Ah,
maybe they're whispering some stuff about you, but like just like I don't what did you expect kind of? You know they
yeah.
don't like you. You know you did some things that were shady. Like
Mm-hmm.
if anything, if you want to resolve it, try to like be apologetic about what you did to them.
Exactly. No, she drank the toxic boy tonic, so she's in the toxic boy Delulu.
She's a
And
Sarah Ann
Schwartz,
pick me.
literally, I'm sure Schwartz is like, no, no, we're like, I love you, like, blah, blah, blah. And then she's just like down bad for him. Obviously, he doesn't want to be with her, which is sad. Um,
And he's like dragging her along. That I do feel bad
yeah,
about because she clearly likes him a lot and he's
she
just doing
likes him
his
a
Schwartz
lot.
like,
But it's like, sis, he just got out of a long relationship. Like, do you want
why do you
that?
want to be with
Why do
Schwartz
you
just in
want that?
general? They are kind of
Yeah.
perfect for each other though. They act like fucking freaks together.
I mean, yeah, they're very like, they seem like more than like bros to me than like lovers.
They've slept together.
Yeah. That doesn't help. But like when they're hanging out, it's very much like, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Come
like,
on, Joseph. Ah, it's just like, ah, Schwartz.
yeah,
Ah.
exactly.
I can't with her. I felt a little bad, but like I'm also like, girl, like
I did feel a little bad as
you're
well. I
setting
was like,
yourself up
oh,
a little bit right now.
it just sucks. Like when I watching this show also made me think like nobody will understand your feelings like you do, and it sucks to be misunderstood. So I get it. I'm sure she's like, I'm not trying to be a homewrecker. I just kind of like him and I kind of want to be on TV. Like, okay,
Right. But
like
I'm like, you're
we could
bare
under
like, do you want to why do you want to be on TV? And also, why are
in
you a
this association,
hairstylist
yeah.
and like your hair looks terrible?
Yeah, I didn't get the best look at it because Sheena said she had it braided somehow. I don't know.
But like even like the confessionals and every other scene, her hair looks a mess.
Does it?
It
I need
does.
to pay more attention.
It looks
Is it just
interesting.
flat? It's very flat.
It just seems like she doesn't brush it. And
That's one thing she has in common with Schwartz.
that's probably why they get along. They don't
We
brush their
both don't know
hair.
what to do with our hair.
Ugh. But I think that was pretty much it because I feel like everything else that was good in the episodes we kind of talked about when we talked about the characters. Like
Yeah.
Tom and
Um,
Ariana, the
Oh, I
cheese
loved the
situation.
Jax. I loved the Jax. This was the
Oh
episode before, but they kind of
yes.
seeped into this one. When Jax sat down and had business to handle, I was like, yes.
You're
But then
looking
he
a
was like,
lot
it's
better.
right. But then he got up and he was like, it's all love, bro. And I was like, literally, what happened? We missed something in the middle. I wanted somebody to make this guy like try to answer for something, you know?
Hmm. Well, that's the thing with Jax. He's very he's kind of a hypocrite. He was also a bad guy, but oftentimes I guess Sandoval was a bad guy too, but he could hide behind Jax. And then but Sandoval or Jax used this whole Scandoval to get like attention and like get his own spinoff with the Valley, which I don't know
Mm,
if you watched. There's been like two
mm-mm,
episodes. It's okay. It's not
mm.
terrible, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. And he has a podcast, right?
Yes, with Brittany, but now there's his wife who they're now separated.
Oh,
So
wow.
a lot of
Okay.
drama with that.
Oh, he
But
was literally like, I have the best life, man. Like, I have a
mhm.
kid that I love. I have a woman that I love, and it's just amazing. What are you doing?
Oh, he's a
And I
mess.
was like, yeah, if his friends can't talk to him about anything, Jax, you're not gonna get a productive conversation at a time.
No. But yeah, that was pretty much it. This is a long episode breaking down the season so far. Our next episodes we'll be talking about other things and just like whatever episode was that week. But we need to do a deep dive to introduce the show and like get
Yeah.
Mackie's thoughts because she's new to the Vanderpump Rules
Yeah. I liked your
universe.
backstory too. The
Oh
context
yeah.
helps.
I do recommend at some point going back and watching everything because the show's really
Yeah.
amazing.
I
Don't gotta
might
rush
start
through it, but
dabbling.
like, yeah, dabble.
I'll dabble. I'll dip.
Um,
I'll dibble dabble.
yes. But with that being said, thank y'all so much for listening. Make sure to rate and review us. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and
Do
Spotify.
it all. Do all the things.
Yes. Follow us on Instagram and at TikTok at the Shade of It All podcast. Posting a lot of videos on TikTok. And also we're on YouTube at the Shade of It All. So you can watch our and see our beautiful
Our
faces.
wonderful faces. Yes.
Yes. But we'll be back next week. But thanks for listening. Bye.